Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am a logical lefty, Jeff Waldorf, and we got a lot of interesting and fun, also disastrous stories for you today on the show. So, why don't I do a breakdown here real quick? Hey, you remember those grocery prices that were supposed to go down? Yeah, it turns out Trump's like, you know what? No, you actually signed up for them to go up. Okay. Interesting. We also are going to talk about Trump's disastrous, and this is all part of the disastrous ABC News interview. In fact, he was fact checked at one point to his face. He was not happy about it. I've got that moment as well as the facts. Then we've got Pam Bondi making a ridiculous boast about how she saved a third of the country. Wow. Whoa. How did that happen? How did that happen? Interesting stuff here. So, turns out it didn't actually happen. But we'll get to that. Then we have an ICE raid in Oklahoma City that shockingly, or not really shockingly, but targeted the wrong family. And the details of that raid are horrific. And then, of course, the end of Elon Musk's tenure at the White House. Yeah, kind of, but also not really. So I get the details on that. And okay, even though Elon Musk is or has effectively left the White House, did DOGE do what it said it was going to do? Did they succeed in their mission to cut spending? I will examine it. We get, numbers. So we'll do that. A little bit of math. All right. So that's on today's show. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. I do want to thank a couple of members here. Once I can actually find them. Here we go. Here we go. I want to thank Scott Adams for supporting the show on our YouTube channel. You can, of course, sign up to help out by hitting the join button below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, you can be a subscriber, sign up for that, send some stars, whatever. And if you're on Twitch, which some of you are, you can also sign up to support us by being a subscriber to the channel. I also want to thank supporter Paul R. So thank you for that. All right. With that, thank you for those of you who do support independent progressive media. We need you more than ever. All right. That said, let's do it. Let's dive into these stories here. Hold on a second. It's okay. Here we go. Yeah, we're doing it live, folks.
We'll do it live.
All right. Let's start out with Trump. Promises kept? No, not really. So all right. During his disastrous interview with ABC News, President Trump said that, you know what? His voters, despite him promising on day one to lower the price of groceries, he now says that his supporters absolutely signed up to pay higher prices at the store. Here he is responding to criticism of his tariffs on ABC News.
Concern out there. People are worried, even some people who voted for you saying, I didn't sign up for this. So how do you answer those concerns?
Well, they did sign up for it, actually, and this is what I campaigned on. I said that we've been abused by other countries at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We were losing $3 to $5 billion a day on trade.
So you were getting abused by other countries, and I thought, why not just cut out the middleman, and I can abuse you instead? Oh, what? That's where it is. Okay, that's where we're at. The guy who claimed to lower grocery prices on day one is actually saying, well, no, of course, you guys knew that I was going to raise the prices of everything, you dummies. I campaigned on it, and he's actually correct. He did campaign on doing these tariffs, but he lied about what the tariffs actually would mean, what they would do. He kept saying the other countries like China, they're going to pay the tariffs. They're going to pay all the tariffs, you see, and then you're going to actually save money because things are going to be great. But in reality, in the real world where we all live, okay, Donald Trump apparently does not live there. In reality, though, we pay them. We pay the tariffs. That comes out of our pockets. And the way that happens is that importers will pay the tariff, and then that same importer will pass the costs on to all of us. And that's it. Now, Trump also didn't say anything about the effect that these tariffs would have on the economy, crashing it. He also didn't say anything about how it would destroy people's 401ks, their retirement plans, with this ridiculous trade war, and also make it so that a lot of these countries that were our trade partners are now going to go to China and become trade partners with them. So congratulations, you've just made China the leading economy in the world. Great. And in addition to these ridiculous tariffs, of course, part of that involved putting tariffs on 2 uninhabited islands for some reason. You know, putting tariffs on the penguins? Is that what we're doing? Yeah. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, what's funny is in that same interview, he's like, you know, these tariffs, right? I now take credit for fixing the tariffs. Quote, I could have left it that way, and at some point, there would have been an implosion like nobody's ever seen. But I said, no, we have to fix it. I have wanted to do this for many years. Yes, he's wanted to do this for many years. That's because he's a moron. Okay, he's a dumb person that makes sure never to learn anything. He does not know how to effectively use tariffs. Look, I've pointed this out plenty of times. I believe that tariffs can be an effective tool in the toolkit to go after countries that, you know, maybe do have unfair trade practices. That said, putting tariffs on every single country in the world, including 2 uninhabited islands, is not smart trade policy. It is not an effective use of these tariff or these powers. Okay. Yes, I believe in negotiating better deals. That's fine, but we actually have to, I don't know, negotiate them. Okay, not just like preemptively blanket everyone with high tariffs and be like, okay, now you come negotiate after pissing everyone off. It's not a really effective trade strategy. But that said, if he does manage to negotiate deals with other countries, I think the fact that he's an idiot will probably mean that these deals will end up being somehow worse than any of the so-called bad trade deals that he was out there to renegotiate, to fix. So, and the other thing too is that yes, they'll probably end up being worse, or likely benefit himself and maybe some of his friends. How much? I don't know. But I do know it's been a disaster for business. And yes, you have had people, small business owners, big business owners that have been speaking out. Now, look, Christopher Tsai, the president and chief investment officer of the investment management firm Tsai Capital, told Business Insider that the tariffs could hurt America's small and mid-sized businesses and tip the country into a recession, which I'm sure everybody's looking forward to, right? Yeah. He said, this is a lot more than numbers. People's jobs are at stake, and businesses that have been thriving and contributing to the economy for years are all of a sudden in an extremely different situation. That's worrisome to me. So that's Psy. Then you have Barstool Sports owner Dave Portnoy, who put out a video saying that basically he is furious because he has lost money. Yeah. And then, of course, you have 37-year-old business owner Megan from Texas, who told the New York Times in an interview that her small business is struggling due to Trump's tariffs. In fact, she said, we've tried to look at manufacturing in the United States, which is still too expensive. We're in crisis mode. Yes. And not only is it business owners, but it's also just random people that are just trying to buy things. Yes. In fact, one MAGA supporter took to social media to beg Trump for help after being charged a huge tariff surcharge for a guitar that he's trying to buy. The man wanted to know why China wasn't paying for the tariff. Again, just to illustrate how the false notions that Trump has been putting out about who actually pays the tariff bill gets believed by so many people. He's like, how? I don't understand why China isn't paying this. Why do I have to pay it? Because you were always going to pay it. That's how tariffs work. Okay. But he says, no, these tariffs are being used to punish American veterans who buy art from our allies. Look, there are plenty of other examples of people that are not happy. I've talked about them in different segments. But what does Trump say to that? Well, on Easter Sunday, he wrote this, quote, the businessmen who criticize tariffs are bad at business, but really bad at politics. Well, congratulations, Trump. You're bad at both. Just a disaster. But then he added, they don't understand or realize that I'm the greatest friend that American capitalism has ever had. The greatest friend. That's right. Yeah, you people that are losing money because of me, you just suck at business. Get good. Get good. Be more like my friend, my first buddy Elon, right? That takes a lot of money from the government. I see. So I'm not exactly sure that it's all that smart to go in that direction, but go ahead. Godspeed. I think at some point, or at least I'm hoping at some point, assuming he doesn't somehow turn it around, I think there's going to be a large economic abandonment of Donald Trump. Because remember, that's pretty much the only reason that he won the election anyway. That people were voting with their wallets. They thought that, oh, well, maybe this failed businessman he went bankrupt 6 times. Maybe he'll be better for the economy this time. Oops. I didn't say that the electorate was well informed, okay? Because clearly they are not. But here's the thing. We're seeing the cracks already with his polls that have plummeted on the economy, especially with independent voters, lost a lot of them. But the real test, of course, will be whether a plurality of his own voters, of his base, will realize that, oh, it turns out things are not getting better, and they're not going to, because there is no plan, and that whatever they think is going to happen, the American renaissance of manufacturing, whatever they think is going to happen, won't. So there you go. All right, moving on. And here we go. President Donald Trump was being interviewed by ABC News and didn't appreciate being fact-checked over the mistaken deportation of a Maryland man. During the interview Tuesday with Terry Moran to mark the first 100 days of his second term as president, Trump insisted that Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was mistakenly sent to El Salvador's brutal mega prison / concentration camp, whatever you want to call it, on March 15th, had MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles.
Look, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshopped? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir. I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but
they're in your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
We'll take a look.
You do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at that,
Why don't you just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
It's contested.
It's contested, right? No, it's not contested, actually. It is a Photoshop. Clearly, a Photoshop. It's not even that good of a Photoshop, all right? You can clearly see it. Look, it doesn't look real at all. In fact, it's not, because here's the same hand. What happened to the letters and numbers? What happened to it? Huh? Weird. Very, very weird. No, not weird. They never existed. Clearly, the letters and numbers MS-13 were added digitally above each tattoo. Now, of course, the reason that they did that is in order to argue that these symbols were a code. But Donald Trump actually seems to legitimately believe that MS-13 was literally tattooed on the guy's knuckles. No! Like, this is a great example of one of those things that some older people that have no clue about the things that you can do with video or image editing with Photoshop believe. Seriously. And now, of course, one of the reasons that Trump believes this is not only because he's dumb, but it fits his narrative. That said, gang experts have said that these tattoos, the tattoos that he actually does have on his hand, because he does, they're not associated with MS-13. That simple as that. Not only that, but there was a former gang member that was turned professor who told CBS that he had spoken with current gang members. And they were like, yeah, those are not gang tattoos, bro. Seriously. Just no. At the end of the day, Garcia is not a criminal. He's just not. Has he had a couple of run-ins with the law? Yeah, sure. People have. Hey, you know who also had a lot of run-ins with the law? President Donald Trump. Yeah. So, just saying. Look, no court has found Garcia to be a member of a gang. But again, that doesn't matter, because Donald Trump has no intention of bringing Garcia back. He could order it, and he admitted that in the same interview, but he just doesn't want to. It just doesn't feel like it, yo. I mean, come on. You're going to make me actually do something to bring someone back that I accidentally, and yes, have admitted to sending to a horrific place? No, I can't do that. No, can't do that. And so, look, he doesn't want to. Okay, and how dare this ABC News reporter disagree with that? And not only that, how dare the Supreme Court order me 9-0 to return him? I'm the president here. You're being so not very nice to me. So very, very mean. Ah, yes, so very, very, very mean. Hey, you know what else might be mean? Sending an innocent man to a horrific foreign prison camp. Seems kind of mean to me. Seems not very nice. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to point out, too, is the fact that Moran is treating Trump with kids' gloves. He said that there's a dispute here. No, there is no dispute. Okay. Trump is flat out lying. He's wrong. He's just wrong. And look, I bet this guy was probably told not to challenge Donald Trump too much because mainstream media is trying really hard to not rock the boat. Why? Why? It's because if you rock the boat, the baby gets upset. And when the baby gets upset, well, I mean, then he will call for pulling your broadcast license. That's how much of a child Donald Trump is. Okay, attacking media for asking tough questions about what he's doing and challenging. So they can't challenge him too much. He's got a lot of the mainstream media that have normalized him and are basically cowering down to him, not calling out what a lie is. Okay, when a lie is literally a lie, a falsification is a falsification, and that picture right there, clear falsification. It's just not real. Okay, but again, you try to tell Donald Trump that, he and his MAGA fans, they're going to get very mad, get very angry about it, and they're going to throw a fit because that's what they do, and that is unfortunately how they continue to get away with it, with the media not properly holding them accountable simply for access and to avoid having now the Justice Department, the Trump Justice Department, come after them. Because you know that that's one thing that he certainly has been wanting to happen, for these networks to be punished, networks to have their, broadcast licenses taken away, all that stuff, in order to try to silence any sort of dissent against him and his criminal regime. So, all right. Yes, the continuous death threats do have an effect on the media. Very sad. Says RB. Yeah. All right. Whoop. Move on. Yes. Obeying in advance. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. President Donald Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, was mocked online for claiming that she saved over 100 million people. She posted to X on Tuesday that today is Fentanyl Awareness Day. In President Trump's first 100 days, we've seized over 22 million fentanyl-laced pills, saving over 119 million lives. We are fighting relentlessly for the families of our loved ones lost, for those whose lives are at risk, and for the soul of our nation. We will not rest until this poison is off our streets and those peddling it are behind bars. Now, look, I think it's a good thing that, yes, these pills are off the streets. But the numbers here really don't seem to make sense, to kind of add up. I mean, 119 million people is about a third of the population of the entire country. I'm pretty sure that in the first 100 days, she did not save that many people. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that no lives were saved. I'm sure some were due to the seizures. Okay. But come on. I think any lives, by the way, that have been saved are likely to be lost, right? Because of the massive cuts to programs that help people not die from overdose. The Trump administration recently announced plans to terminate a $56 million annual grant program that distributes doses and trains emergency responders in communities across the country to administer Narcan, which is an overdose medication. It's according to a draft budget proposal. In the document, the grant money is among many addiction prevention and treatment programs that are set to be zeroed out. Why? Well, I mean, their official thing is, we're just doing this to save money. It's waste, fraud, and abuse, right? But I actually think that it was too successful. Wait, what do you mean? According to the most recent national data from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, overdose deaths from fentanyl in 2024 actually decreased by 26% to less than 81,000 over the preceding 12 months. County-level CDC data revealed that much of the communities, or some of the communities that were in states hit hardest by the opioid epidemic, like West Virginia, New Hampshire, Ohio, they have seen deaths fall by 40 to 50% over the past year. I know, that is a reversal from just a couple of years ago, when the nation was suffering through one of the worst stretches of this long-running drug overdose crisis. More than 110,000 Americans had died in the previous 12 months from an overdose, almost twice the number of people who died in all of the Vietnam War. So, yeah, there was an issue. It has been addressed, and things are actually, or were starting to go in a better direction. So, yes, lives have been saved, just not nearly as many as Bondi wants to claim. Okay, so obviously this got a lot of mockery online. In fact, David Burge of Iowa Hawk Blog writes, "Rip math." That's right. Blogger Bob Seawright writes, "Over 1/3 of the population would have died." Robert Hirschfield, director of water policy for the Illinois-based private Prairie River Network, writes, "Wow, they prevented 1/3 of the country from ODing. Wow, if it were not for President Trump, 1/3 of the U.S. population would have died in the last 100 days," wrote George Mason University economics professor Alex Tabarrok. And then you have economics professor Justin Wolfers writing, "Apparently 1 in 3 Americans would have suffered fentanyl-related deaths in the last 100 days from each taking 1/5 of a pill, if not for the Attorney General's innumeracy." 1/3 of a pill, you say? Oh, I'm sorry, 1/5 of a pill. Wow. I want to address that because there are, police officers. Remember seeing some of the videos, like somebody even coming into contact with just a tiny amount of fentanyl, thinks that they're going to die if they just touch it, which is absolutely ridiculous. No, that's not how that works. Okay, but oh boy, they believe it. So yeah, maybe they do believe that 1/5 of a pill will automatically make you die from an overdose. No. There's more. University of Toronto assistant political science professor Connor Ewing writes, "By the end of 2025, Donald Trump will have saved every American. Thank you, Mr. President." And then another said, this is Words and Numbers co-host James Harrigan writing, "Let me get this straight. You think 1/3 of the American public would have died as a result of one pile of drugs? Would the capture of 66 million pills save the entire country for certain death? Are you dumb enough to buy this, Pam Bondi? Or do you just hope your followers are?" Look, honestly, I don't know the answer to that question, and that's kind of the scary part. Okay, is she dumb, or does she think the rest of us are dumb? I cannot tell you. I just can't tell you. Sad. But hey, look, again, there is good news on this. Yes, I gave you the good news already, but now things might end up getting worse, thanks to DOGE sweeping through the government and cutting these vital programs. So I would actually expect that number to start going back up. I hope it doesn't. I do hope that, that it continues to fall, because I don't want to see people suffer from, fentanyl addiction or overdose or things like that. But with the way this administration is going, I'm sorry, but I would expect not only more overdose deaths because of the lack of prevention, but an increase in people using drugs to deal with, well, the fascism that's going on. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of fascism. Oh boy. A family in Oklahoma City has been traumatized after federal immigration agents raided their home. On Thursday morning, 20 armed federal agents busted through the door looking for some people that no longer lived at that address. Oops. The raid involved U.S. Marshals, ICE, and the FBI. These U.S. citizens who were caught up in the raid spoke to KFOR and said, hey, man, we don't, we just came here from Maryland, okay? We don't have anything to do with the people that used to live at this address. Why are you busting in to our house in the middle of the night? Now, the woman that was interviewed, and of course they chose to stay anonymous here, but she said that the agents, quote, wanted me to change in front of all of them, in between all of them. My husband has not even seen my daughter in her undergarments, her own dad, because it's disrespectful. You have her out there, a minor, in her underwear. I kept pleading. Before I get to that, she said, we just moved here from Maryland. We're citizens. That's what I kept saying. We're citizens. We're citizens. I kept pleading. I kept telling them, we're not criminals. They were treating us like criminals. We were here by ourselves. We didn't do anything. This kind of seems like a great time for due process, but apparently Donald Trump got rid of due process. Due process is how you prove that, yes, you are an American citizen, but they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't listen at all. In fact, as a result, these agents not only invaded an innocent family's home, but then confiscated all their stuff, took their phones, their laptops, and even their life savings. That's right. Just straight up theft at this point, okay? And look, I've talked a lot about how police can, when it comes to like drugs, for example, for a long time, police have been able to come in and then take all your stuff, and it takes a long time to get your stuff back, okay? Now they've expanded that to immigration. So not only is it like drugs, it's also, immigration. So we're going to come take your stuff. And that's it. And good luck getting it back. Okay, it could take months for them to be able to even get their money back. So now she said, I told them before they left. I said, you took my phone. We have no money. I just moved here. I have to feed my children. I'm going to need gas money. I need to be able to get around. Like, how do you just leave me like this? Like an abandoned dog. They were very dismissive, very rough, very careless. You literally traumatized me and my daughters for life. We're going to have to go get help or get over this somehow. What if I would have been armed? You're breaking in. What am I supposed to think? My initial thought was we were being robbed, that my daughters, being females, were being kidnapped. You have guns pointed in our faces. Can you just reprogram yourself and see us as humans, as women? A little bit of mercy. Care a little bit about your fellow human, about your fellow citizen, fellow resident. Look, here's the thing: these officers, these government officials, don't actually believe that these people are human. I mean, the people that are in law enforcement are basically taught to see everyone else as subhuman with no rights, especially on these immigration raids. Okay, but she says, we bleed just like anybody else bleeds. We're scared. You could see our faces that we're terrified. What makes you so much more worthy of your peace? What makes you so much more worthy of protecting your children? What makes you so much more worthy of your citizenship? What makes you more worthy of safety, of being given the right that they took from me to protect my daughters? Well, I mean, I guess these agents, these brown shirts, these officials are probably like, well, that's the reason that I have more worth, that I'm worth more, is because I just happen to be working in the Trump government. I'm a law enforcement agent. That would probably be their answer. Okay. All of this is part of the reality of living under fascism. They don't give a damn about your rights. And Trump has empowered them to do whatever they want. And look, if your rights can be taken away by a lawless administration, I got news for you. They're not really rights, are they? No, we don't have them anymore. We don't have rights anymore. When Donald Trump can send armed thugs into our homes at any time, and we can do nothing about it, do we have rights anymore? Do we have rights anymore? Because it doesn't feel like it. Doesn't seem like it at all. And here's what's funny about that, right? You know the argument that the right wing uses to support guns for everybody. Oh yeah, no, we gotta use the guns. You see, we gotta have the guns so that we can stop an authoritarian government. Well, we have an authoritarian government. So, I mean, you can't argue here that when police can just barge into your home for any reason now, that, you know, yes, we do live under authoritarianism. Okay? And yet, those very same people, oh, freedom, liberty, oh, we got to use our guns to protect our rights. Where are they? Well, they're over there saying, oh, yeah, no, we actually love this. We love this tyranny. We love this authoritarianism. Okay? No, keep having it. Okay? Keep doing it. Yeah, this is great. It's horrific. I mean, look, at this point, the best thing that I can hope for right now is that this family is able to sue the shit out of all the people involved here, all the agencies, and win. That's the best that I can hope for right now. Real justice, however, that would mean actually protecting the rights of all Americans by holding the very people that violated these people's Fourth Amendment rights accountable with prison time. Of course, at this point, obviously, I know that that's not going to happen under this criminal regime. Okay. She seems really shocked at the thought that the brown shirts don't care about her rights, and I'm just sitting here thinking, really? Shocked by that? After everything that happens every day? Yeah, to be fair, in the defense of low information people, okay? Because that's what I assume this is, right? They're not paying attention. And we do live in a country where who's got time to pay attention? Not a lot of people when you're working like 2 jobs, okay? And you also have the Fox Newses of the world that put out fake news all the time. Again, $787 million they were, that they had to pay in a settlement for lying to their audience about the election in 2020. So, they're not really a great source of information, not really all that trustworthy. So, and yet they are the largest news organization in the United States, most watched. And so when you live in a country where most people can't afford to take time to pay attention to the issues, to pay attention to the news, and with news channels that actually don't give out real information, I'm not exactly surprised to see that people really don't understand what's going on. And I think, again, that is absolutely on purpose. Protecting the rights of all Americans, that would be woke. Yes, it was super woke. Yeah. In fact, you're making me do it. Okay. You have made me do this.
Woke.
Okay. There we go. All right. VMan 29397 with a couple of super chats here. Thank you for the $10 super chats, by the way. Much appreciation on that. Let me read those. I'll say one thing. Donald Trump's regime is the best political tool for the Puerto Rican Independence Party. Conservative stateholders 4 years said independence would lead to authoritarian rule. Well, yeah, it looks like you got that now. And then that was the same one, actually, twice. So I don't know if it popped up twice for me or if you sent it twice, but thank you for that. Okay. With that said, why don't we go to the final story here that I have prepared for you, and they are the same message. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we'll talk about DOGE. Okay. It appears that Elon Musk is finally out the door, having left the White House as he wraps up his tenure as a special government employee. Ooh, very, very special. The most special. Now, Musk is officially expected to step down in May, which, again, it's very close, and apparently has already physically left the White House to, return to his floundering businesses. But don't worry, says White House Chief of Staff Suzanne Wiles. He's very active here. Oh, very active. Ah, gotcha. Instead of meeting with him in person, she said, I'm talking to him on the phone. But it's the same net effect, which is nothing, by the way. She told the New York Post in an interview discussing the Trump administration's first 100 days. Yes, that's right. 100 days of failure. Oof. Now, Wiles says of Musk, he's not out of it altogether. He's just not physically present as much as he was. Hanging around Trump, follow him around like a puppy, going to these meetings, these cabinet meetings that he has no place in. Yeah. So he's, not there physically anymore to freak people out, but trust me, he's still there. In fact, she said him being physically present doesn't really matter much because you know what? The DOGE staffers, they ain't going nowhere. Of course not. Of course not. They got to keep making those six-figure salaries, after all. Yeah. Okay, but sure. So the DOGE staffers are still here, but what have they actually done? Has DOGE borne fruit? They have had 100 days to cut spending and to make government more efficient. Is it working out? No, of course not. Turns out Musk and his blunderkins have saved the government a total $160 billion. Now, that is just a mere 8% of his projected $2 trillion in savings that he was going for before he revised it down to $1 trillion 160 billion. But all right, what makes that worse though? According to the Penn-Wharton budget model, government spending under Trump has actually increased. Oops. Kent Smetters, a director of the model that tracks weekly Treasury data, told Politico that total spending jumped 6.3%, or $156 billion. So whatever savings got wiped out, of course. Now, that's, again, 6.3% since Trump returned to office in January, compared to the first 4 months of 2024. Even when accounting for inflation, the government still spent $81.2 billion more under Trump compared to the same period last year, Smetters added. To which, of course, I have to say,
whoopsie.
I remember back in January, okay, there was an interview where Musk was describing how, it's so easy to go in and cut all this money. A very, very target-rich environment for saving money. If you look in any direction, he said, it's like, where will you find places to save money? I'm like, it's like being in a room full of targets. You could close your eyes and you can't miss. There's just a lot of waste in government. Oh, okay. Lot of waste, huh? Well, where is it? I mean, we're waiting. Now, of course, yes, one person's waste is another person's vital program or something. And not only that, but one person's waste might be the entire reason that Elon Musk is a billionaire. I mean, of course, I don't want to talk about that. Okay. But look, what they have currently considered waste so far, it has been just government workers. That's right. A Politico analysis found that nearly 250,000 employees have left the government or expected to leave government, including over 112,000 who took a deferred resignation program. So now, basically all the money that they saved was from firing people. Now, there are costs associated with firing people, obviously. Part of that is having to rehire them as they were either ordered to do or they realized, oh crap, we cut something that we weren't supposed to. And it turns out we broke government in a way that is disadvantageous for us. So now we have to rehire these people back. Or, the backlash, or again, these court decisions, judges ordering them to rehire staff. So there's associated costs for that. Okay. And there's also lost productivity. There's paid leave. Okay. All those costs actually added up to about $135 billion, according to Partnership for Public Service, a nonprofit that tracks the federal workforce. These estimates, which were based on budget figures, do not include the cost of DOGE's numerous legal battles over its massive cuts. Yeah. In fact, Max Stier, the nonprofit's chief executive, told the New York Times, quote, not only is Musk vastly overinflating the money he has saved, he's not accounting for the more exponentially larger waste that he has created. He has inflicted costs on the American people who will pay them for many years to come. Look, this is the real waste. And I will also argue that it's abuse. Okay. Think of these, the crap that these workers have had to put up just for DOGE to claim that they saved such a small amount of money. Yes. But here's the thing, though. It's never been about the money. Okay. It's about destroying the federal workforce, driving up unemployment, which drives down wages, which makes corporations richer. They have to pay less. Yes. I feel like DOGE's real purpose is to engineer a situation that is going to make the vast amount of people in this country poorer, while also enriching the already super rich. When you look at it that way, the fact that they're saving so little money is not important. because saving money was never really the goal. This was just a smokescreen. Okay, DOGE was lying to the people and continues to lie to the people because look, the stated goal of DOGE was something that a lot of people actually agreed with. We don't want waste, fraud, and abuse. All right, and there is. Yes, there is waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, every time we give oil companies money and subsidies, I mean, that's waste. Okay, every time we give Elon Musk subsidies, that's a waste. Just saying. Okay, now the reality of the waste, fraud, and abuse is that it happens mainly at the top, not at the bottom. That's where all the waste, fraud, and abuse is. Okay, now these companies, they want to continue that, and so in order to do so, they have to cut things like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which targets fraud perpetrated against consumers. So there's a reason that they targeted that first. Okay, so it's no surprise that DOGE had failed in that mission because it was never really meant to succeed in cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. The real reason, and the reason that it actually has been a success for them, is that it is there to simply facilitate the upward transfer of wealth to the very rich. So, there you go. Vertical Flats asks with a super chat here, will I do a game stream sometime soon? Look, my game streams will probably be like super boring. So I don't necessarily plan on it, but you know, I may reconsider in the future. So I wouldn't even know what to play at this point. And again, I'm probably one of the most boring gamers to watch. But that's just me. But thank you for that anyway. Might consider it. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Let me get to. Hold on here. Oh yes, Vertical Flats. Thank you for also rejoining as a member on YouTube. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Play Wise X Nordics. I do, but it's on my PlayStation, so I don't have it for PC. And I have been kind of playing through that. At least I did a while ago. But yeah. Elon Musk is a waste of skin. Yeah. Let's see. Project 2025. Yeah, absolutely. I fired all my employees. My business is so efficient now and saved a bunch of money by not paying the rent. Yes. Play the Oblivion remaster. Once again, have it on my PlayStation. And have been playing through that, actually. So, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. All right. Speaking of enjoying playing that game a lot, I actually want to do that after I'm done here with the stream and with all the editing and stuff that I have to do. So I think that game's calling. That's right. So I'm going to cut the stream short here. And first, before I do that, thank you guys and gals for tuning in, watching. Please like and share the stream, like and share the videos if you haven't already. Leave a comment, all that wonderful stuff. That really helps me with the engagement here. Do a channel where I play video games and talk politics at the same time, a mashup. Those generally do not do very well. I mean, I have tried that before. And it's funny because it's like, you know, there's almost like two different audiences for that. You know, there's the political audience, there's a gaming audience, and they generally do not mesh. They generally do not mix. And so that's what I saw when I did that. That's what I saw when Hassan Piker would do that. And so, yeah, starts playing a video game, loses thousands of people on his stream. So it's like, I don't know if that works very well. But so yeah, I have tried that. All right. Here's my train of thought here. All right. Hey, if you want to support independent progressive media, please become a patron, patreon.com/jeffwaldorf, or become a channel member, or join our Facebook page, all that stuff. You know how to do it. Once again, need your help here to continue and to try to hold the Trump administration accountable, or at least to get people accurate information, which is difficult to come by in these times. So help us out by becoming a member and supporting this channel. Yes, I know. I hate to ask, but got to. In these days, got to. Okay. With that said, thank you all. Please take care of yourselves, your families, your communities, mutual aid, all that wonderful stuff. Join with your fellow progressives. We're pretty much everywhere, even if we're not like open about it. So you'd be surprised that I'm sure in your communities, hell, in my community, we have anti-Elon Musk protesters, which is great. So I love that. Love to see it. So they do exist. So take care of yourselves, like I said. Be safe. Love you all, and we'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Same time, same place.